Time for a recap of my van build so far as a novice woman. Let you know what I would do again, what I liked, what I didn't like, and maybe how you might improve your own in the future.
Hey, I'm Issa, and I'm learning to convert this van all by myself while traveling out of it as much as possible.
Hey, so it's future Issa doing a voiceover from her van build 4 years after the fact, even though I'm only posting these videos now. Look, I'm behind, I apologize. Let's start off with the electrical system. I am still glad that I did work with a company. Now, the company I did work with is called AM Solar. The kicker, although I ultimately do recommend them, they're no longer in business, and that really is upsetting. So, yeah, pick your own company if there's better out there. What I do appreciate is they were available for questions during business hours, of course, and they designed my system. I bought my kit from them and it was affordable. It was about the same price as I would have paid for all of these items if I bought them outright. Now, knowing what I know, I do think there were things that could have been improved upon in this design, made it a bit more streamlined. So what I would say is I would go with Explorer's Life. I think he does a really good job, he and his wife, teaching people, showing what you need to do and also why. And he sells a lot of great kits, combo kits, diagrams, all sorts of things, so you can still DIY safely. What I would not do again is get this stupid hammer crimper. I hate this thing. Yes, it worked. It got the job done. It did save me money, but oh, what a POS. Don't bother with this. Try one of the pneumatic tools, and then also use ferrules if you are up for buying new tools. At this point, I'm not going to redo any of this. It's still holding up very nicely 4 years later. All right, moving on to batteries. I absolutely would get these batteries again. They were the best value that I could find, and they have held up like a champ through so many hot days in Phoenix. They're not specifically built for hot weather, but I've really put these batteries through incredible paces, and they continue to work so very well. Now, I have 824 amp hours here. This was because I was planning on putting this pretty heavy duty AC, 12 volt AC in my system. That's a whole nother side quest story that we won't even get into because it was a POS. But that is why I ended up going so heavy on this battery bank. This is not necessary if you live in a bit more of a temperate climate. You don't need this much weight. This is about 100 pounds of battery sitting right there. Something I didn't expect to get blasted for that I really have once I have like reposted this video and like this whole video, people are up in arms about where I have placed these batteries. I need to make it clear, these are built right over the wheel well. Well, the battery box is. They are in such a secure position in the van as far as weight distribution and being low to the ground. Now, I think maybe because of the camera angle, people think that they're quite high, but they're really not. If you look at them, they're like right about thigh, knee level. Onto some of the other components like the battery protect and fuses and such. I also discussed with the company, we ended up going Victron. That's really what they used as well, and it's a well-used brand in the van building community. I am glad I went with Victron. I've been very pleased with them. Of course, they're not perfect. There are things that they could do to improve, but I'm very happy with them and they've been very durable. Something I really thought I planned for well was where all my electrical components would lie along this, like what I'm calling my electrical wall. And they do all fit, but something I thought of but didn't really was the wiring. The wires are quite thick. So in my mind, when I thought of wires, I was, all I could think of like is a typical like wire that you have according like to your lamp or something like that at home. It wasn't until I started looping and maneuvering the wires to all the components that I realized this just takes up a lot of space. So the company I worked with, this is how they design their systems with multiple separate components for different areas. I would say check out Explorer's Life. They use like Lynx distributors. I think that their fuse panels are cleaner looking as well. I think my system could have been designed better. Also, I'm not going to change it because it is working very well. This 12 volt fuse panel here, I love that I've put it in easy access because even as I've built out my van, I can still get to it while I'm inside the van. So during inclement weather, it's been really nice when some of my systems have been wonky or I wanted to test them. I didn't have to go outside to make any changes. And let me tell you, the satisfaction I have when this system was like up and running and actually working, I mean, the joy I felt at actually succeeding was pretty rad. Now let's move on to the inverter. This is a big baby. She's a lot of power. I wanted to be able to also have regular house plugs. Looking back, I am glad I went with as big as I did. I will say it's not necessarily necessary, and depending on your build, you might not need this heavy duty. I planned and prepared this van for a place to live out of very comfortably, ideally, and I wanted to be able to use household appliances intermittently when I was at a campsite or even on the road. In reality, I actually use the plugs that are working through this inverter very infrequently and pretty much only when I'm plugged into a campsite, when I'm got what I like to say free electricity, even though I pay for the spot for the night. That way I can save my butane and all that for the road, because I prefer to do wild camping. I'm just showing again here how all these components just took up so much more space than I imagined. And then you'll also see with all of those thick, chunky 4/0 wires, once those get in and everything is moving across the battery bank and such, it's a lot. So if you are doing an electrical system, consider your wire sizes and also how those are going to lie in your overall layout as well. Also, this whole thing of getting just these very short 4/0 wires where they needed to go, this on-off switch is just, it is what it is. It's permanently slightly cattywampus. It really ticked me off while I was doing this. I was trying to get everything to just be so beautiful looking. And while I have tidied up the system, this is just a little degree off center and it doesn't bug me so much anymore, but yeah, just something to keep in mind. So here's those wires, just something worth keeping in mind. But overall, I am happy with my system. I just think it could have started off better, but I did it myself and now I know where everything goes and how it works, which is on to the DC to DC charger. So basically the alternator is going to charge my main van battery first, make sure she stays juicy, and then any excess is going to be pulled over to my van battery bank. Now, this system was just very tedious getting this darn wire through the channel. This is how I decided to snake it through. I realized in this video I wasn't very clear. I ended up snaking it forward through that wire chase. Then it went down, I think that's called the A pillar, right behind the driver's seat, looped it under the driver's seat, and then that's where you see me connecting it to the crazy wire housing underneath the driver's seat. And here is that crazy bit of factory wiring from the manufacturer. It's so crazy looking to me, but it's actually very tidy. I don't even want to imagine trying to chase any of these wires. I do think there are better and other ways that you can put the fuse into the van for the DC to DC charger for a Sprinter, but at the time, this is the way that I was told, both via AM Solar that I was working with, and that's what Explorus Life had done as well. I have since upgraded my DC to DC charger so happily, like in the last few weeks, to one of their newer editions, and it is massively different. It's almost double the power. And while this system was a bit nerve-wracking and irritating to put together and like just put where it needed to go, it was fairly simple. I would absolutely do this system again for sure. In fact, obviously I did when I upgraded it. Thankfully, I didn't have to make a lot of changes in the wires. If I had to take apart my ceiling and redo the whole wire system for the upgrade, I don't think I would have bothered with it. The first one worked well enough, but for my massive battery bank, the upgraded version works way better. Okay, let's move on to the roof. This roof rack, I installed this because I was preparing to get the solar panels on here. This roof rack is by Flatline Van Co, and I absolutely would recommend them. 10 out of 10. Their customer service was fantastic. They were really great about sending me pictures of other customers' builds and kind of some ideas that I had for what I was looking to do ultimately with this roof rack. They just phenomenal. They were phenomenal to work with, and this roof rack has been just sturdy. It's lightweight. It's not caused any wind noise. It's not caused any issues, and I've been able to easily add other components aside from just the solar panels. Now, this very well could have been user error, but inserting this fairing into the what's this called, 80/20 bar was so hard and so annoying. That was the worst part of this, but I still would recommend it and get it again. I will say what I would do differently though is not get, I think this is called the Low Pro. I would actually get their full size one. I am not a stealthy van. I thought it would just be nice to have a lower profile, but it also, it's something I didn't take into account, has a more narrow width on the top. The other one that they sell has a bit more width, so I could have added more solar panels. So this has limited me on what I can put up there. I have some things I'm thinking about working around. I might even just upgrade this at some point later. I'm still very happy with it. It's just something to keep in mind if it's something you end up doing. Once the rack was up, I was gonna put the panels up. So this box was actually designed by AM Solar. I think it's so clever. I wish I could have bought another one or thought to buy another one. You'll see later another idea I use making my own kind of junction box on the roof. But this was really cleverly designed and easy to use. The only kicker is this whole solar panels aren't, these connections aren't rated for outdoor use, which is just still to this day wild to me. Pretty soon here, I'm actually going to have to temporarily take my solar panels off to do some stuff up there, and I did heat shrink them, and I know that's going to be really annoying for me to cut through that heat shrink to take these apart. So, just something to think about. I'm happy with the solar panels themselves. The quality is very good. I was able to get them tucked down basically right in line with the roof rack, so it's very seamless and streamlined. But again, I only have 180 watts, which is a real Peaslee amount for the amount of battery that I have. But I did like the way I routed the wires for the MPPT, and I am glad that I also have an external solar port, so I can add more panels, and I have while I've been out in a campsite. So I do like that aspect because then I can just move those panels where I'm not going to be moving them. So the only changes I would make here would be being able to add more solar, plus keep the external port, but I would repeat how I actually wired the line through the van as well. So that's it for the recap for now. My do's, don'ts, maybe change. Maybe obviously need a little more quality control around here, but I hope this helps you. I actually really enjoy these. I'm going to keep doing these. So thanks for watching along this one. Hope you have a fabulous end of your day.